I'm talking to David Saville Peck. David Saville Peck is the organizer of the Chemainus Grand Prix. David, it's a very exciting weekend here. I'd like to know, what do you think of the things going on here?
Well, I must say that I'm absolutely delighted with the way things have progressed. We had an excellent practice day yesterday. This is the first time there's been a street race like this on Vancouver Island, and it's really the only one in BC. In fact, as far as I know, I think it's the only street race in Canada this year, with the demise of some of the other ones back east.
David, you've been in racing a very long time. Could you tell us how you started in racing?
Well, I had a little bit of a break actually in 1975. I had a very bad accident in my Can-Am car at Elkhart Lake, Road America, Wisconsin, and got very badly burned. But I started probably like most other people. I was a kid about 8 years old, and I bought an old Austin 10 in England, and I went racing around the farmers' fields. I hate to say it, but I used to drive up to Brands Hatch on all the farmers' roads and go and watch the racing. Highly illegal, of course. And then just progressed from there. I actually got into rallying first, but I found that far too expensive, since I seemed to write a car off every rally. But they were sort of Austin A35 vans and stuff like that, anything I could afford. Then I joined the British Army, and I was actually the Army go-kart champion back in 1960-something, very long time ago. I progressed up through the ranks there. When I was in the Army, I had a Mercedes 220S that I raced at Nürburgring. I won the Nordheim-Westfalen Championship in the 61, I think it was, or 62 in Germany. And then I did actually progress up to a Formula 2 Cooper, but I had an accident at the Nürburgring on the Flugplatz when I flugged into the wall, into the Armco. And I decided then I wouldn't race single-seaters anymore, because I figured it would be a bit dangerous if it caught fire. And then in the mid to late 60s, early 70s, I was a real two-seater sports racing car fan, and I built my own cars, did the Motoring News Castrol GT Championship, and I won the... Too much noise? I won the Motoring News Castrol GT Championship in my class. And then my wife and I decided to come to Canada, and the only racing over here was Can-Am. So I built the first Can-Am car in England and came over here. First year I did was 73, which was remarkably unsuccessful. We had a lot of fun. 74, which unfortunately was the last year of proper Can-Am racing, we were a bit more successful. We were the first Canadians ever to win points in the series in a Canadian-built car, because I was building them in Victoria at that time. And I didn't have any sponsors, of course, and we had to win enough money at one race to go to the next, the old hand-to-mouth, but it was a marvelous group of people, and shame I wasn't into it a little bit earlier, because that really, to me, was the mecca of motor racing. Really.
Well, this kart race is very exciting. Can you tell us about the state of art of kart racing now?
Well, there's a big resurgence, really, of course, in all motorsport, particularly with the money that's involved these days. In our kart racing, it's evolved immensely in the last 3 years, just let alone. We used to be racing in Victoria at an oval track down there, which was unbelievably bumpy. But we then built our own track at Cassidy, the Capital City Kart Club, Vancouver Island. And we've gone from leaps to bounds, and now it's the stage where you see it today, which is very much like the best in Europe. And I mean, just look at all the equipment around you, tents and toolboxes and all the rest of it. When we first started, or I got into it 4 years ago, there's some good friends, and one of the cameramen used to come along, and he'd have his kart on the roof of his car. So it's all come along, but of course, with, our very own Greg Moore, who's absolutely an awesome driver, and Paul Tracy and Scott Goodyear, Jacques Villeneuve, where did they go-kart racing. This year, Jarno Trulli is racing Formula One this year. This year he's in Formula One. He was driving a go-kart last year, as well as doing, I think, Formula 3. But he literally went from go-kart racing to Formula One in 1 year. So it tells you what it's like.
I just want to thank you, David. I have great hopes for the race this afternoon. Hopefully it's a good, safe race, and everybody has a good time, tight racing. So thank you very much, David.
Well, I really appreciate you guys coming down, and my wife and I have put over a year and a half into this. The private sort of race, we put it on. It's not a sanctioned race, it's sort of an outlaw race. and we're hoping to build it into an island series maybe next year. I've already been approached by 2 towns on the island who are so impressed with what we've done. So I really like to publicly thank my wife, Zoe, because without her, I tell you, this would be impossible.
Good for you, David. Thank you very much,
Okay,
sir.
thanks.
And a good day.
You bet.